evening and welcome to SMNI. You're watching Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante Klinkang. Our guest is Marian IBUNA Pastrana, one of the few female executives in the Philippine maritime industry. She has been on this program before, but only for a short segment conducted at the sidelines of the Manila Times Forum on Maritime Issues. We've invited her back for a more in-depth discussions on matters related to the blue economy. Mrs. Pastrana, if you recall, is the chairperson of the Archipelago Philippines Ferries Corporation, which owns and operates the Fast Cat fleet, and Executive Vice President of CAPP Industries Incorporated, a bulk material trader. She's also the president of Archipelago Philippines Seafarers Training Institute, a maritime training center founded to educate, train, and upgrade the skills of Filipino seafarers. As if that were not enough, she also serves as the Vice President of Women in Maritime Philippines, sits in the advisory panel of the Philippine National Police Maritime Group, participates in Entrepreneurs Organization Philippines, and serves on the board of the Worldwide Ferry Safety Association. We'll ask Chairperson Pastrana, how can the Philippines tap the full potential of its maritime resources? Ms. Marian? Ms. Pastrana, may I call you Marian?
Yes.
It's nice to see you again. And you know, you're the first person to be invited back on Business and Politics. And
really?
It's because we had such an interesting discussion, but that we were limited by time constraints. But thank you for making time again.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure, and I am very grateful.
You know, one of the things that really intrigued me when we were talking is that your background. If I recall correctly, you studied nutrition in college. Your husband is in agribusiness,
yes.
Right? How did you get into shipping and logistics?
You know, I always joke about it that my husband took agribusiness, and he kept on agreeing and agreeing to all kinds of businesses. But joking aside, you know, I have a story when my daughter was 2 years old. My father-in-law was living in Calbayog, Samar. And we drove all the way, took the Nautical Highway.
I see.
And then when we got there, oh my God, the lines were long, the toilets are so bad.
The Roro.
Oo, taking the Roro. And then like, I actually got sick after that trip because I was holding my pee, not using the toilet, the dirty toilets at the ports. Right after that trip, I went straight to Makati Med, got hospitalized. But the story is, when we saw the state of the Roro network in the Philippines, somehow my husband uttered a prayer and said, like, I hope someday I can help in this area and help our country. And maybe God heard the prayer, the universe, and He manifested it, and somehow we got into this business in 2000. So we started owning tugs and barges to carry bagged fertilizer. Then soon after, this Roro. So we bought a company with 5 Roro vessels, but old ones, second-hand from Japan. And then we ran it for a bit, and then we realized this is not the way to go. You know, it's not a good business model to operate old ships imported from abroad, not suited for Philippine waters. So we embarked on a modernization plan. Thank God we had investors who trusted us, who trusted the vision. And in 2010, we got approval for the funding of modern ships. And then the first Fast Cat arrived in 2013. And then now we're on our 20th ship. And as I mentioned to you, we have a big, hairy, audacious goal of 60 Fast Cats by 2030. And why? And why not? Because we are an archipelagic nation. We depend on this moving sea bridges to connect the Philippine Islands. And so we're dreaming this for our country. So,
people look at your success and they may interpret that you had a very easy going with your business. But we were talking earlier, there were a lot of challenges, even now, but you know, especially when you were starting your business to grow it to this scale. Right? And do you regret any of that? Do you wish you went back to nutrition?
Actually, I was telling fellow entrepreneurs in the Entrepreneurs Organization like how complex our business is and how hard it is. And a friend of mine answered back, was a fellow entrepreneur, said, Anne, come on, what business is not hard, no? Like everything is everything has its own hardships. But I guess shipping is complex, no, in
Right.
itself. It's an expertise. It's technical.
Right.
So it needs some kind of expertise to be
Right.
successful in this field.
Right.
So thank God that when we were here, even if I took up nutrition and and managing the ships and talking to seafarers, my thought bubble was saying that how could these people believe me when I don't have the educational background?
Sure.
So in 2015,
You
I
went
think
back to-
I decided to enroll at the World Maritime University and took up Executive Maritime Management.
Right.
And then, as if that's not enough, I took up maritime education and training at the Philippine Merchant Marine Academy. So what am I saying? So our company is really being experts in this field and being very good in this field so that our country can depend on us in delivering the kind of services that they expect, no, being an archipelagic nation.
Right.
So it's complex,
Yeah.
but with God's help, strong faith, we believe that we must be this expert shipping company that our country needs, no? Because what we're doing is connecting the Philippine Islands,
Right.
and it is needed for nation building and for national unity. I always tell our people, para sa bayan.
Right.
We're doing this para sa bayan. Our
Right.
people depend on us for
Right.
this. So, yeah,
As you
it's complex.
said,
Yeah.
as you said, there's a great need, and
Yes.
even with 60 ships, I mean,
Yeah.
serving
Kulang
what
pa rin.
110 million Filipinos.
Yeah.
That's really
Still not enough.
a drop in the bucket. No,
Amen.
no.
Yeah. True. Agree. Yeah.
So what's needed? I mean, if you were in position now and you were to look at people like yourself, just many years ago, starting out, what would have been easier if you had maybe a chance to recommend to policymakers, to the
Yeah.
government,
Yeah.
hey, do this, so that it would have been an easier journey for people
Yeah.
who want to
Exactly.
invest their own money, right, and serve an important need of the Philippines.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned to you, my husband and I are very much active in the ferry world, no?
Yes.
Because we feel that to be a good player in this industry, then we must be experts and we must be learning continuously.
Yeah.
And one of the avenues where we get all these learnings is from an organization of ferry owners called Interferry. And every time I'm there, I pick the brains of these ferry companies. Some of them are like third generation,
Right.
fourth generation.
Right.
I listen and I try to learn. So, in other countries, companies like ours are subsidized by
Okay.
the state because the state would say...
Because you provide a public service.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The state would say if they know it's their responsibility to connect their country,
Right.
provide the road infrastructure.
Right.
So if it takes for them to connect via sea, then they have some form of subsidy. So
Right.
like Norway, they provide fuel. Some routes in Canada, they have a budget to support the players in the field. So for me, here in the Philippines, we don't have that structure yet. No?
Okay.
But there are incentives crafted, such as tax-free importation if you bring in brand new ships. But you see, ships are expensive, no? It's capital intensive.
Sure.
So
I think you were saying something like one brand new ship that you bought from Australia is something around $10 million or something.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
the
serious
rate now.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah, serious investment. No,
Yeah.
and then you operate. You keep on moving. There are a lot of moving parts, and
Yeah.
then we're subjected to weather,
Right.
high tide, low tide,
Right.
weather, and then regulatory requirements, and we're
Right.
scattered all over the Philippines.
Right.
No, so my wish is that people try to understand the business and support it
Right.
in their own way.
Right.
Support would be, of course, using the network,
Right.
like maybe traveling in the countryside, using the service
Right.
instead of maybe going abroad.
Right.
That's
Right.
one. To supporting us by helping us maintain our operational expenses. So maybe. Don't vandalize the ships,
Right.
or we use the equipment properly.
Be responsible passengers.
Yes,
yeah.
like be responsible passengers. That's one. Third, if I'm government, I will
Yeah.
support it because it will bring to the local government unit, the a lot of return when they
Right.
have that connection.
Right.
I was mentioning
Right.
to you that you would say that we have the bragging right that we were the first to connect Mindoro to Katiklan during the time of President GMA in 2004. That was our ship that first
Wow.
connected those islands, and there was no shopping centers like naman mga Mercury Drug.
Yeah, the
or-
sari-sari store, but not the commercial type
yeah.
of...
And no banks yet,
Yeah.
no mga pera padala, ganyan.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the
Once
Roro
you connected
network,
them.
yes, then the ripple effect just really brought in
Sure.
business and people and traffic in the area.
Yeah.
So if I'm government, then I'll support that. A lot of government people, governors, congressmen would come and call and say, hey, can you connect our islands?
Yeah.
And I would always say, or like one, Senator Legarda asked us to connect Antique.
Right.
And I was saying, ma'am, we would be happy to support and connect the islands, but it doesn't stop there. We
Correct.
would need people's support by using them, or if I'm LGU, gathering all the cargo and
Right.
getting them organized so that they
Right.
use the service. Because
Right.
once we connect, we burn fuel already.
Right.
And capital, no? So
Makes sense. You can go to one island and then not refuel, right?
exactly,
And
yeah.
not need help
or pay
to...
people to run the ships, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what
There's a
we're
whole
saying,
ecosystem that needs to be developed.
exactly.
Right, where
So-
you land and where you take off, yeah.
So we have to have that systemic thinking wherein you want us to connect you, then you also help us, make it easy for us to operate our ships and
Right.
get the traffic, get the people to take the ship. Otherwise, it's going to die. It's not going to be sustainable. Because we've seen that happen when
Right.
during the time of GMA, when President GMA, when they wanted us to connect Bataan. So
Okay.
so we pulled out a
Bataan
ship,
and, Manila?
Manila
Okay.
to Bataan,
Yes.
and then we put our ship there.
Yeah.
But then there's no traffic, and then you know
I see.
after investigating why is it
Right.
successful? Like the road network is not enough. It's
I see.
dark. People don't feel safe.
I see.
And you were asking me about Pasig River, like what can we do in Pasig River?
Right.
So it's to be able to be successful there, you have to have not just the ship itself.
Right.
You have to have the
You
right
need to have the system, right?
Exactly. So right design of a boat.
Yeah.
You need to have the landings. It has to
Right.
be lighted. Road network.
The connection to
connection to the
other
main
transport,
artery.
yeah.
Yes, connection to the main artery. Then maybe ticketing system.
Yeah.
Maybe making it accessible in the phone, di ba? Ganun app. So that people will start using it. So again, it's not just the company itself, but then the whole ecosystem and
Right.
population coming together to help and make this happen.
Has it become easier now? Because there's also, not just, between departments, right? But also between the national and local governments. Sometimes it's a tricky thing to navigate,
Yeah.
right? Do you see that there's more coordination now, and maybe what else should happen so that
Yeah.
it's a more seamless experience, right, for people taking
Yeah.
the ferries?
I think government on their parts doing something, no? Like Marina came up with a road map, 10-year road map. We hear government saying they're supporting our seafarers and all. But we need to, I think, move at a faster pace.
Okay.
Yeah, like have that really
So
paradigm
all the
shift.
ideas are there, just you need to implement it
Yeah.
and implement it well.
Yeah, implementation and support of other agencies. Example, ships by law should be dry docked every 2 years.
Okay.
We don't have a shipping industry. A shipping industry, sorry, steel industry. So
Okay.
all the steel plates that
You have to
needs
import it.
be, yes, has to be imported. So then we need the support of the Department of Finance and then customs to get these materials done. And one of the dream of Marina is to have like a center wherein we import tax free
I see.
and then get things faster than the usual route. So we've been talking about it. It's been in the air for quite some time, but it hasn't happened, no. So these things, no, that this has to happen. Of course, encouraging industries like the steel industry, sana
To invest.
we hope to have that,
Yeah, the parts.
to have that education. We have to upskill our people and maybe change our curriculum, no, in maritime education, and I guess also just creating awareness in anything maritime.
Wow.
Because if we do that, then the effect will be so much better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities and potential if we just really focus on it and use it to our advantage, then yeah, it will work well for us.
Okay, well, that's a lot to chew on, but before we move on, we'll just have to take a quick break. This is Business and Politics. We're talking to Ms. Marianne Pastrana of Fast Cats.